Mark. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I am Mark Naftalin. I was a keyboard player in the Paul Butterfield Blues Band. The first band I played with was called Johnny and the Galaxies in Minneapolis, Minnesota, my hometown. Yeah, I started with them in 1959. I was 14, and we played the music that was on the radio at that time, rock and roll, rhythm and blues. And my parents supported that. They said it was okay. I made more money in one night doing that than I did in a whole week on my paper route. But I held on to the route for a while, and we played at a place called the Crystal Coliseum. That burned down in 1961, and that was the year I moved to Chicago. And I want to thank my parents for being in my corner always. Arthur and Frances Naftalin were their names. And I do want to thank also my wife, Ellen Naftalin is her name, and she knows the meaning of being a blues wife, and she's part of me. She's sitting down here. And thank you. And I thank also my son, David Naftalin. He's known in the art world, which is his province. He's known as David Normal, but he flew out from the West Coast to be with us tonight. I thank him for that. And of course, I would like to thank the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame very much for acknowledging the Paul Butterfield Blues Band. And especially, I would like to thank the staff and all the different crews of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Foundation. They are extraordinarily competent, skillful people, made us very, very welcome. And I would like to thank the fans of the band. It turns out there's a lot of them out there, and I thank them for voting and voting and voting. All right. And I would very much like to thank Paul Butterfield. I wish I could do it in person, but I'd like to thank him for inducting me into his band. That was 50 years ago this summer. And I'd like to say it's an honor and a privilege to be part of something historical. And I would like to thank the musicians that I traveled with in the band in my early days. A couple of them were up on stage with me: Sam Lay, Alvin Bishop, Jerome Arnold, Billy Davenport, and Michael Bloomfield, who was later my partner in many endeavors. They showed me the way. I thank them for that. And I would also like to say that I would be remiss at this time if I did not mention the names of my other Paul Butterfield Blues bandmates. And they were, I got it written here, I'll never remember. No, I know who it was. It was trumpeter Keith Johnson, tenor saxophone man Gene Dinwiddie, alto saxophonist Dave Sanborn, and the very fine blues and jazz percussionist Philip Wilson. They are part of the Paul Butterfield Blues Band's legacy as well. And there is one more. It's a very dear friend of mine, and that's Bugsy Mao. Yes. And, Paul Butterfield inducted Bugsy Mao into the band right out of the Wilson Pickett Band. Great bass man. He was brought into the band to play bass and also as a featured vocalist. And what I would like to do right now, if you'll help me with this, so I think he's up here somewhere in the second balcony or something, and I would like you to, let's all get together and give Bugsy Mao of the Paul Butterfield Blues Band a real Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ovation, okay? All right. Okay, thank you very much. Give your own selves a round of applause just for being here tonight.
Hi, I'm Elvin Bishop. I'm glad to see you here. I'm amazed to see you here. This is a hell of a thing. Everybody having a good time? I'll tell you something. I'm older than most of you folks here. Damn near all of you. Excuse me if I go back into a little bit of ancient history. I remember a time, believe it or not, when there was no rock and roll. That's why I appreciate this so much. I'm talking about when I was a young teenager, the best a young person could do for pop music was like guys like Perry Como and Dean Martin singing How Much of That Doggy in the Window and When the Moon Hit Your Eye Like a Big Pizza Pie and shit like that. And then Elvis came in and Chuck Berry and Jerry Lee Lewis and Little Richard and Fats Domino. We said, oh, this is great. And I got to digging a little bit, and I found out that all those guys had one big thing in common, heavy blues roots. They had heavy, I started digging around and checking out blues and everything, and I found out it was all happening in Chicago. Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, Magic Sam, Little Walter, all in their prime. So I had to go to Chicago, and I did, and I got lucky. The first day I was there, I was walking around, and I saw a guy sitting on some steps drinking a quart of beer and playing blues. I said, this has got to be my type of guy. And I went over and made friends with, it was Paul Butterfield. And I was real lucky because I was kind of on fire for blues, but I was real inexperienced. What they call in Chicago, the square is a pool table and twice as green. And I got to play, I ended up in a band with Paul Butterfield, Michael Bloomfield, and it's a damn shame that they can't be here tonight. And Mark Naftalin and Sam Lay and Jerome Arnold, and wow, that was really lucky. And I'm not gonna bore you with any more stuff, but two things I'm glad about. That was a butt-kicking band, and we helped blues cross over to the regular public. And we kind of set an example which was badly needed in those days, that people of different races can work together and do good.
Thank you, Peter Wolf, for your induction address. My father had audacity. He purloined Howlin' Wolf's rhythm section. He was 21, 22 years old. Take some guts. He was deep, sincere, and a force to be reckoned with. I'd like to thank all the musicians that played with the Butterfield Band over its 9-year span, all the fans, and Tom Ellis, Bill Bentley, people who helped keep this torch alive. I'd also like to mention Billy Davenport, who we all wish could be here with us tonight. He was a phenomenal musician that added a great deal to the Butterfield sound. All right. I'd like to accept this on behalf of the Butterfield family, my Uncle Peter, Pam, Liz, and Jesse, my loving mother, Catherine, most importantly, the love of my life, Kristen, who has been my best friend for over 25 years, my most trusted confidant. Without her love and support, I wouldn't have the life that I love so much now, and I wish my dad were here to share it with us. Now, and last but definitely not least, our children, his grandchildren, Amelia Butterfield, Macy and Cooper, who I'd be telling to get in bed right now if this weren't a taped show, but it is, so I'll watch it with them. Anyway, thank you, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, for inducting my father. This is really a life-affirming honor. Congratulations, Dad.
All right, I want to hear everybody in this whole place say one thing right now. Paul Butterfield. Thank you, that is awesome. Dad is alive for all of us right now. This is incredible. A lot of people have been fighting. He's been nominated 4 times, and on the 4th time he gets inducted. Yeah! This is the most exciting day in my life since my marriage to my wife, but that's a different story. And this isn't about me. This is about this band who is pinnacle in musical history. Pinnacle. I mean, these guys changed the world as far as I'm concerned. They're finally getting in. And I just got to thank the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I got to thank the fans that did it because I know there's a lot of work to do with that. I have to thank my mother, Virginia, for being there and supporting Paul when he got drafted into Vietnam, and because they got married, he didn't go, and he was able to create this music that's going on today. It took me 3 years to even listen to my father's music after he died. But after that, I think my father got out of his grave and said, "You wake up, you little shit, and get it together." And been fighting for this all the time. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Paul Butterfield Blues Band, man. Elvin Bishop, Sam Lay, Mark Knapflin. Give it up. Billy Boy Arnold here. Thank you.
First of all, I'm not a very good talker here, but I can tell you from the depths of my heart, I love every one of you, and I appreciate every one of you. All the years y'all have dedicated trying to get me here, you got me here. I intend to stay. I might not be as strong as I used to be with them. I'm muddy like muddy waters. The world knows I'm here. On behalf of the people in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I'm mighty happy. Apparently somewhere down in life I made you all happy too, and I intend to keep on making you happy, you know. I talk so much on the street when it's time for me to talk, I can't think of the words to say. But I can tell you from the depths of my heart, I appreciate you. I love every one of you. And people want to know, Sam, how old are you? March 20th. I just turned 80 years old. Thank you, and I'm still here. And I've had people a lot of times, Sam, man, what keeps you going? I can tell you, but I don't want her to keep you going. My wife, for one thing, Elizabeth, and my kids, and most of all, the person that really keeps me, if you want to use the word, motivated. I'd rather see you motivated than to see you agitated. But what keeps my motor running and keep me going and hoping I could stay 80 more years is the fella, when I call his name, you'll probably know who he is. He keeps me going. He's got me going today and forever. And we just love him. My family, we love him today. And that's Mr. Corky Siegel. Yeah. And we got Corky Siegel here in the house with us. He's somewhere among you beautiful people out here, but anyway, could I have it one more time for Corky Siegel and his wife, Holly? And I think a lot of times if it wasn't for no Corky Siegel, it wouldn't be no Sam Lay no more, you know? So, but from the depths of my heart, I appreciate all of you, who's ever on the committee and who's ever responsible for it. And all of you lovely people, or fans if you want to call them that, friends and fans combined. from the depths of my heart, thank you so much. And I just love you to death. Thank you. Thank you. Don't say I didn't try. Thank you.
Elvin would like to say one more thing.
There's one thing I forgot to say. I want to thank my wife, Kara, and my daughter, Emily, especially because I'm the knucklehead who left the trunk open on the way to the airport in San Francisco, and her bag bounced out and was never found. And she's still speaking to me. Thank you. I love you.
Give it up for Peter Wolf, too, man. Come on, he did a great induction.
Oh boy, Mike, I wish you weren't here tonight. This would be a lot easier. On behalf of Mike Bloomfield, we would like to thank the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and all the wonderful musicians in the Paul Butterfield Blues Band. He respected you guys so much, like just so much. We would like to dedicate this award to Mike's mother, Dottie. She was always Michael's #1 fan, and I know that both Dottie and Michael are smiling down upon us tonight. Michael is quoted as saying, "The music you listen to becomes the soundtrack of your life. It may be the first music you make love to, or got high to, or went through your adolescence to, went through poignant times of your life. Well, that music is going to take on much more importance than just the sound of the notes, because it's the background track for your existence. And what a glorious soundtrack they made. Thank you so much for this great honor."
My name is Billy Boy Arnold, and that means I sing nothing but the blues. You know, Ray Charles, when he was 9 years old, he used to go down in Jacksonville, Florida, to the cafe and listen to all kinds of music. He had classical music, jazz music, spiritual music, and the low-down blues. Well, we called it the low-down blues, but he coined it the black bottom goodies. He said he'd hear the jazz, and then he'd want to hear Tampa Red, the original Sonny Boy Williamson, Elmo James, Muddy Waters. That's what he called the black bottom goodies. People call it Delta blues, but I prefer to call it what Ray Charles called it, the black bottom goodies. And that's what I sing, the black bottom goodies. I'm not a member of the Paul Butterfield Blues Band. I'm here on behalf of my younger brother, handsome bass player, Jerome Arnold, whose real name was Romeo Arnold. But he changed his name when he became a teenager because he got teased a lot. People call him Romeo, you know. So he called himself Jerome. I met Paul Butterfield when he used to go in Pepper's Lounge. He was so good. Everybody say, "Did you hear this young white guy? He can play the harmonica just like Lil Walter, Junior Wells, all you guys." So I went down there to see him. And Paul Butterfield was amazing. The public liked him. All the musicians liked him. He had a lot of charisma and he was outgoing. He just had personality plus. So him and Sam Lay and Elvin and my brother, they had a band together. And when Paul would go out of town, he would ask me, say, "Can you play in my place, your band play in my place till we get back?" Well, we played on the west side and the south side of Chicago for the black audiences. We didn't play on the north side for the white audiences. But Paul played on the north side. So I played in this place on the north side. And so Paul got Muddy Waters, Junior Wells, Buddy Guy, Otis Rush. He got all of us to the north side. That's when the white people on the north side of Chicago heard the black bottom goodies. Thanks to Paul Butterfield. It's a pleasure to be here to honor Paul and the band. and the fans. Thank you.